Okay. Please is okay on this call. I'm not sure. Not sure. All right, so I'm just about to turn on my camera so you can all see me. Can you all see me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So good evening. Good
Yes,
evening.
sir.
All right, no problem. You can turn off your mics. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session. In fact, this is literally like our first session on the Future Advantage Impact Initiative. I'm really excited that this is actually coming to reality. You know, that point where you have a vision, this was all to the point of planning and all of that, trying to gather resources, people to ensure that it is a reality. This is literally dream come true for us. And I want to say, I want to officially welcome each and everyone that was actually selected for this program. And I also want to extend my appreciation to all our facilitators because, man, it's not easy. These guys are literally busy with their own schedule and work, but they decided to actually come to do this and impact other people. It's really a lot. So just a brief introduction of what the Future Impact Advantage Impact Initiative is all about. I believe we all you read it. You were when you were applying, you saw it on the website. But just to give you like a backstory, so I graduated from university 2024, and all through that period of being in the university, there were literally a lot of opportunities. Some we took advantage of them. Some I didn't really understand the importance of them. One of them was actually research. I didn't really take it very serious because I was like, I know that I'm actually going to be going into the business world, and I really didn't pay much attention to research. But I was given the opportunity. I remember back then while I was in school, there was a particular there was one of our professor that was really pushing for students involving in research, but I really didn't see the importance back then. But right now, I've actually seen the importance. And also, even back then, there were a lot of things that although I was engaged in some extracurricular activity, business activity, and social impact activities. But looking back also, I saw a lot of students who didn't really see the advantage of all of those things. And today, a lot of them are regretting. Another was scholarship. A lot of students, let's even we're not even talking about postgraduate scholarship at the moment. I'm talking about just undergraduate scholarship. A lot of students did not even know that some of those stuff were available. I literally know one of my course mates that was very good. The guy also graduated first class. I also had another person that was in my faculty that had excellent result. Like all through that guy was literally on a 4.7 plus. That's range 4.7, 4.8. But guess what? He didn't really had any scholarship while he was in school. Not because he was not qualified, but probably he didn't really like take it serious. But for some of us, personally, I got up to like 2 to 3 scholarship while I was in school. I had friends who had up to like 5 scholarship, undergraduate scholarship while they were in school. Why? Not just because they had excellent results, but because they knew about these opportunities and they took advantage of these opportunities. And all through this remaining 7 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks that we'll be having, by God's grace, we have about students from over 29 universities or higher institutions that actually were selected for this program. I saw students from Unilag, UI, Covenant University, Babcock, just what have you, University of Benin. In fact, before we even continue, let's rep our universities in the comment section. I want to see the university you are attending from, the school you probably attended, or the school you are currently attending, or the school you are aspiring to actually attend. Let's see in the comment section from University of Ibadan, Uniben, Uniports, Unilag. Let's see you in the comment section. So all through this period, you are going to be learning about basically how to position yourself for all of these opportunities, how you can position yourself, build relationship with your lecturers, because one of the problem that a lot of students face is that they think their lecturers are always against them, so they don't know how to build um good relationship with their lecturers, and it will really hurt you when you start looking for other opportunities that they probably need someone to recommend you, because if you don't have a good relationship with a lecturer, who is going to recommend you? That's a problem. Now, we're also going to be learning about how you can start building your CV, how you can start building your LinkedIn presence. Beyond that, you're also going to be learning about how to access research groups. Like one of the speaker today, fantastic guy, has actually been in the research space also. So he's going to be sharing much more about that. We're also going to be talking about climate change, SDG goals. If you want to get some international opportunities apart from scholarships, how you are involving in SDG climate change activities, they will really help you. And you're also going to be developing your leadership capacity and a whole lot more. So we're also going to be having projects. So you are going to be grouped into teams. So maybe you guys from Unibank, you are going to be collaborating with someone who is from Unilag, who is from Babcock, who is from Covenant, because we want to build that collaboration or that collaboration skill basically between students. So by God's grace, at the end of the program, you are going to basically present something, because we don't just want this to be a passive learning, but we really want it to be something that everybody is involved. Everybody is involved. So we're going to be having our first speaker coming up on stage very soon. We'll be reading his bio, and please, guys, I want you to be open-minded, and also we're going to be taking attendance, very important. So all the classes, yeah, before the end of his session, attendance form will be shared. You're gonna fill, and in few minutes after the session is ended, the attendance will close. And you're also going to state something that you learn in the session, so that we'll know that you actually really attended the session. So this is not something that you are going to be passively learning, but it's something that you actively be involved. So to bring up our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is Mr. Good News. Good News, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I don't really want to murder it. So Mr. Good News is an electronics engineer with interest in education and research. He has over 8 years experience in the education space and has co-authored 5 peer-reviewed publications. He graduated with a first class in electrical electronics engineering from the University of Benin, winning multiple awards, including the MTN Foundation Science and Technology Scholarship. He's a researcher with the White Water Research Group, where his work focuses on embedded intelligence for a digital One Health system. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, please let's use the digital emojis, clapping ovation. Let's welcome Mr. Good News. Thank you for accepting to do this with us. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Maurice. Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you this evening. Like Maurice said, we are going to be looking at meeting your lecturers for mentorship and gateways to research. Give me a moment, let me share my screen with you so that we can begin our session properly. My name is Good News Osama Imakbokbowan. That's the last name pronunciation. But you can always skip the last name. Good News is very fine. I can relate a lot to what Maurice has said, especially with regards to scholarship. For me, I did not get the, should I call it, update on scholarship up until my 300 level, where I applied for the MTNF. I think my department was stressing us with regards to getting our transcripts, and I was going to quit that MTNF scholarship. But a friend was like, what do you have to lose? Just do this and write the exam and see what comes out. And that's what I did, and I ended up getting the scholarship. So if there was anything that I felt I could have done better with my days in school, it would be to maybe start applying for those opportunities earlier on. Although from 300 to 500 level, I made the best use of it, not just scholarships, innovation competitions, research, and what have you. So in the end, it was still good, but the earlier, the better. So one advantage those of you here would have is you get the opportunity to listen to people that have made the best of their undergraduate days, and they are going to give you the things they could have done better. So when you look at them and compare them with their mates, their peers, these people have done well, but then they are still going to tell you what they could have done better. So you have the unique opportunity to even do much better than we have done, which is a really great privilege. To begin my discussion, especially with getting lecturers to act as mentors, I would start with one of my experience, one of the many experiences I had during my undergraduates. And it was in my third year, second semester. We were done with exams, and I was really excited about the kind of results I was going to have. But then when the results came out, I was not so excited. I noticed that I had a C in a course, but a C was not what I was expecting. I was like, okay, if it's not an A, if it's too bad, it will be a B. But I schooled at the University of Benin, and if you're in a federal university, you may know the myths surrounding questioning your lecturers to get them to remark your scripts and the stigma it creates. So I didn't want to pursue it officially because, well, it's just a C. We can always do better. In my final year, our HOD asked us to arrange a departmental bookstore where they store our exam scripts. We're doing the arrangement, and I stumbled across one of the courses we did in 300 level. And I was looking through, I think towards the fifth script, I saw my script, and I saw that I had a 65 over 100. And it was the same course that I had a C in 300 level that I was not so sure about. What was I going to do? I spoke to the course rep, and I was like, if you bring it up to the course advisor, they would ask you, how did you see your scripts? You are going to be in more trouble than you probably would have been in the beginning. So why am I saying this story? This story could have gone way better if I had a lecturer that I could tell, and then they probably could use their own relationship to get to check if my claims are true without the official buying a form, getting the lecturers to remark, and the stigma attached. The stigma with they mark this boy's face. He's always doing like he knows too much. So that's one experience on one hand. The other experience was when I was done with my undergraduate studies, and I was actively looking into pursuing research. And I spoke with one of my mentors, and he mentioned that there's a professor in a department that is working on this field that I want to work in. I didn't know the man at the time. So one day I went to his office, I knocked, and he opened. So I told him my name, and he recently won a a grant at the time. So I congratulated him for the grant, and I told him that this field, I would like to work in this field. So he interviewed me right then and there, and then we began our work together. That's how I started my work with the Whitewater Research Group. Now, the difference between these two stories is mentorship. The first one, I was not really having anybody that could help guide me. And the second one, I did have someone that could help guide me. So during the course of our discussion today, we are going to look at how can you turn your lecturers into mentors, and how do you open a pathway to research for yourself? How do you get into research? Now, I think from my story, we already know why this matters. The first is opportunities often come through the relationship you built. For example, the work I just told you about. Other times, your mentors could refer you to scholarships, to fully funded programs, to internships, and sometimes to full-time employment in the industry. Here, lecturers have access to projects, labs, and they have network of professionals. They've been in the game for sometimes 10, 15 years. So when you are coming with an idea, they probably know someone that is already working in that field, so they can easily connect you to them. And there's this saying that um, what a mentor does for you is to take about 5 to 10 years of progress and compound it into a year. So if you were to learn something yourself, it probably will take you 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to learn. But if you have someone guiding you, someone there to show you the ropes, your academic and career growth becomes exponential. So instead of instead of waiting, for example, till final year to begin engaging yourself with research, you can start from 100 level. So mentorship accelerates your academic and career growth. And finally, the relationships you build can open you up for scholarship and research positions, not just within the country, but even outside the country. Now, what's the difference between a lecturer? We'll say someone is your lecturer and we'll say someone is your mentor. Now, your lecturer is, as you would know, someone that teaches you a course in class. And you are giving tests, classworks, assignments, and they are there to evaluate your performance. Your interaction ends within the walls of your classroom or within the context of the course they are taking you. But a mentor takes a more active role in your growth and development, academic and otherwise. So your mentor guides your growth. They develop a program, a structure that allows you to thrive. They connect you to opportunities, and they go as far as investing in your development. For example, through classes like this, other times it could be monetary support. Sometimes it could be reference, a good word on your behalf. Those are the things that mentors do that really does not fit into the scope of what a lecturer would do for you. Now, one thing that comes to mind when I think about the common mistakes students make with regards to how to engage with their lecturers and how to get them to become their mentors was during my 100 level, when I just gained admission, I told myself that, oh, I just want to make a first class. I don't want to know anybody. I don't want anybody to know me. I just want to breeze into university and breeze out. So if you've had that kind of thought before, maybe it may be wise to change your views a little. Now, the reason for that is I'll use a public university setting because I went to a public university. In a class of over 1,000 students, you need something that makes you stand out. That's when a lecturer picks interest in you. If, for example, my professor that I had a B, but I later saw a C, if he knew my name or he could attach that name to a face, he probably would be surprised and just check and say, did this boy have a C? Let me just check. And he can correct it. So students often will come with the idea of, I don't want to be known. I just want to just stay in the corner of the class, just attend lecture, go home, or don't even attend lecture if possible. Other times, students would want to approach lecturers when they are desperate, when they need help. You have an issue with your results, you have an issue with another lecturer, you need a recommendation to apply for an opportunity. When they need help, when they are in a tight corner, they need someone to come through for them. That's only when they remember their lecturers. Other times, students ask vague questions. Now, when it comes to vague questions, one thing would want to notice when you, as we'll see very soon, when you come out to engage with a mentor or a potential mentor, you want to ask questions. You want to ask thoughtful questions. But sometimes students come and they ask questions that are not so clear. I'll give an example. For example, you're interested in working in research with a prof, and you're asking the prof, sir, what are you working on? It shows this person has not done their homework. So what do you mean? What am I working on? Or something unrelated, something that does not show thoughtfulness. Other times, students are quick to seek favors without showing effort, which is a byproduct of being desperate. Only approaching lecturers when they are desperate. Then being invisible outside class. Outside of the classroom, they don't see you. I think Maurice mentioned being active in social development, volunteering for roles. But you don't do volunteering, you don't take on leadership positions. When they request for someone to take on a little piece of responsibility, they don't see you. So you're just a regular Joe, a regular student. And then you do not follow up professionally, which still points to being a regular student. Now, if you check everything that we've mentioned as common mistakes students make, none of them in themselves are bad. But we are not, the point of this is, I think the theme for the entire program is future advantage. So we're looking at what gives you an advantage. So being a regular during class, you can be a scholar, just come to class, learn, pass, and go. And that's what you want to get from the university system. If that's your goal, fine. But if you want more, then you probably should not act in this sense. You have to do more. You have to stand out. And you don't stand out by being a regular Joe. If he was standing out, he would not be called regular. Now, how do you stand out? How do you stand out positively? The first way to attend classes consistently. Attend classes so that your professor would note. But just attending class is not enough. You need to engage in a class. You need to ask thoughtful questions in class. So your professor is going through something, you come up and suggest an idea and probe an idea. So whatever it is you do, it has to show that you've put thought into this. And one way to do that is prepare before class. It really helps. Go through the required material before class. Sometimes with the advent of YouTube and open learning, you can learn a lot of your course material from universities abroad, from MIT, from Stanford. You are taking microelectronic circuits. There's a professor in UCLA taking a microelectronic circuit course in YouTube. You can watch, understand what the professor is doing, and if you have a question, come and ask your prof in school. But don't do it too much. What I mean by don't do it too much is this. Unless you are in a healthy environment, some professors may take offense over the fact that you are probing them too much, as if you are trying to undermine their authority. So it should be healthy. It should be a case of, I want to know. I'm not trying to undermine your authority. Then participate in projects and seminars. When you are giving projects in class, try to take the lead. Don't go to the back and say, oh, these guys will do it. You should just tell me how much I need to pay. I will pay you. No. Take initiative. Guide the flow of the project. If you cannot be there, take an active interest in getting the project to succeed. Then you build technical skills independently. I cannot emphasize this enough. What I mean by build technical skills independently is in line with your coursework, you should learn the technical depth of what you're learning in class. So I'll give a typical example of this. If I have an electrical and electronics engineering background, so most of my analogies is going to be drawn from electronics. So you pardon me. So you are taking an electronics course and you are being told about MOSFETs, you are being told about BJTs, op amps, and a whole lot of that. Now, what you do is you can think about how do I apply these things in project? How do these things work in a real world circuit? You're looking at amplifier, you're looking at the differential amplifier. So in what scenarios do we use a differential amplifier? And maybe build a project around that. Now, this is not the project you are giving in class. This is just something that you are doing to develop yourself. For example, you are learning signal processing or power systems, and pick up MATLAB or ITER and learn the software, the simulation tools, the tools that is being used in research and in the industry that relates to that particular course. Now, why is this important? When you approach your professors, one of the first things they want to gauge is, what value does this person give me? So you don't really meet people and tell them, I want you to be my mentor. No, you don't. You tell them, I want to do interesting work with you. I have this to give. You have this to solve. I can solve this problem for you in this way. And they're like, okay, yeah, do that for me. And then they solve your own problems for you. It's a symbiotic relationship. So what can you give them? The first thing you have to give them is, I have the technical skills. You don't have to verify if the circuits work. I'm using simulation. I will do that for you. Then you can help me check the hardware if it's working properly. So that's one way you can stand out. Build technical skills. Learn a programming language. If possible, multiple programming language. Learn a simulation tool, multiple simulation tools. Learn technical writing, how to write a paper. I think the low-hanging fruit will be how to write a paper. You can get courses on paper writing on Coursera. There's understanding research methods by the University of London. At the end of this class, I will compile a list of research courses and the universities that are offering them that you can take on Coursera. They are going to guide you towards how to write research papers. And if you can write research paper, that's a skill, because sometimes professors have done work and they don't have the time to compile everything and synthesize it into a publishable material. And you can come in and synthesize it into a publishable material, and your name appears in the paper, their name appears in the paper, everybody's happy. Then the final thing is, be reliable and be respectful. I think this goes with that saying, be reliable, be a person of your word. Once you've set out to work with a professor and you've made an agreement, stick to your agreement. Don't be lazy. Don't be, oh, it's too much, I cannot do this again. It may be too much, but if it is, let the person know beforehand, not so that it does not seem that you are just trying to make excuses. Be a reliable person, be upfront with your limitations, and when you've been given a task, pull your weight to make sure you get it done. Now, how do you turn interaction into mentorship? Like I mentioned before, you start with curiosity. Curiosity in terms of your lectures. That's a good place to start. But then I'm also going to talk very briefly about if you want to approach people that are not within your student community, professors that are outside of your student community. So the first thing is to start with academic curiosity. You are genuinely interested in doing something. The best thing for you to do is first of all, be genuinely interested in doing something. If research is a very boring job, yes, especially if you do not have that innate desire for it, it's very boring. So the only way you make it enjoyable is you have to be really curious. You have to really understand what is really happening here, or how can we really solve this problem. It has to occupy your mind. You are sleeping and you are thinking about, how do I solve this problem? What do I need to do? So that curiosity has to be there. A good way to know if that area is something you'll be interested in, that field, field is the right word. It's something you'll be interested in, is look at the courses you take in class that interest you. For me, I noticed that my electronics courses, they were rumored to be more difficult than the power courses, but they were also very more interesting for me. They were very intriguing. I wanted to know, okay, how is all of this? What was a signal? They'll tell us a signal is a dependent variable that's controlled by time. Like, yeah, but what is it? So there is a definition, but you are just genuinely curious to know what's the physical representation for this thing. So that's where it starts. That's where it starts. You probably the lecturer taking that course, you are curious about something with regards to that field. And then when you've picked that area of interest that you're curious about, demonstrate seriousness. What does that mean? You should dive deep, do your own personal work, and try to understand what is happening. When you've done that, you can now approach your professor and say, I had this question about this thing you taught. I did this research. I found out this. But then I also have this other question. So you'll notice that you have an opportunity to start up a conversation. So they know that, oh, this person has followed through. This person has done what is required of them. So they are more inclined to listen to what you have. So it says request guidance, not shortcuts. So you are going to meet your professor to, okay, I have done this work, but I still have this problem. What can I do? So they give you suggestion, and you work on that suggestion. So they can tell you that read this research paper. You go ahead, you read that research paper, you come back and you say, sir, I saw this in this research paper. They propose this particular method. Or sometimes it could even be that the research paper is something that they wrote themselves. The professors could have written a paper on a particular topic, and you meet them and tell them, oh, this method you proposed was very interesting. I was thinking about what if we do it like this? And then the person, okay, that seems good. And you guys can pick it up together. And if you do that consistently over time, you'll find out that you have someone that is your mentor. Like you did not officially meet the person to say, sir, please be my mentor. But because of your curiosity, the fact that they made a contribution to your academic and intellectual development, they feel inclined. People are eager to should I say sow seeds of development in the younger generation. I would describe it as that. They are eager. More persons are eager than you would want to, or many would want to believe. So what happens is you stay consistent with them over time. You can suggest that I want to work with you on a research topic, and they're like, okay, let's do it together. Or no, I don't have funding now. You can hold on a bit. But still continue to develop yourself on the side. What I mean by develop yourself on the side is continue to build your technical skills. Continue to build your technical skills, such that if they get funding for a particular project, they have you in mind and they are like, hey, hello, come on, let's work on this together. Now, research opportunities that opens up to you once you've been able to build a relationship with a professor. Now, they can connect you to research through your final year projects, which is the pathway which many persons follow. But if you're not in your final year, if you are still an undergraduate, maybe your 100 or 200 level, what I would suggest is your 100 level, use it to build your technical presence and start up with the rapport, with the intrigue, with the interest. Although I don't know if they've changed the NUC syllabi now, but in my days, we were mostly just doing maths and physics and had little interaction with the professors in our departments. So only that's the case, you can extend yourself a little bit to find out about the professors in your department and Check them out online. We'll get there. We'll get there very shortly. So the first is your final year project. You get to your final year project, and your professor can guide you in executing a novel final year project, so that at the end of it, you have a, a publication, a conference presentation, or a peer-reviewed publication, which is not the case for most persons. Then the next opportunity is research assistant role. So research assistantship is the professor taking you under their wings and saying, assist me in my research. This is more viable for those persons still in school, research assistantship. So you are taking your technical skill, a professor is having a bigger project, there are various persons working on it, research assistants, and then you are making your contribution to the overall research goal of the lab. So those are research assistant roles. Now, publications. Once you've done maybe a final year project, or you've been a research assistant for over a year, you would have executed multiple projects that are, if your professor knows his what, or is what his sort, you should have publications at the end of multiple projects. You should have publications, things that you can show as the outcome of the research work you've done. Now, what's a publication? A publication is really a contribution to your field of knowledge. So you pick a particular problem in a particular space, and you propose a unique method to solve that problem. When we say unique, you could be the very first person proposing the idea, but usually you are really just improving someone else's idea. You are improving someone else's idea. So you are looking at this person has proposed this method to do this, but they could not do this. So let me continue from there. So I'll give a fine example for what I'm talking about. So here, what I mean by here is, like, in Nigeria, there's this Lassa fever as an infectious disease that breaks out time and time again. So you hear that there's an outbreak of Lassa fever, and then you stop hearing about it, and after a while you hear about it again. Now, one way which we can prevent Lassa fever, this is currently a project we're working on now, though, is what if we can detect the presence of rats? And based on the frequency of rats and measurement of some environmental parameters, what if we can predict when there will be an outbreak of Lassa fever? So we monitor the environment, we combine that with computer vision, we use that to monitor the frequency of rats in a storage space, for example. And then we can use that to detect that, this environment will be prone to Lassa fever. And we can log that data and send alerts so that everybody in that environment can be at alert. Now, if you check the existing literature, you could find out that someone has done that before, but maybe the person just monitored the environment. You can come and say, okay, this guy did this work, monitor the environment, but did not include computer vision. Sometimes maybe somebody included computer vision, and you can say, okay, they did not include monitoring the environment, or maybe somebody did both of them, but they did not do field testing. So they did not put this thing in a storage room for a month and monitor what happened, and then collect the data for that. So you can do that. There are always contributions you can make to the field. Or with regards to the Lassa fever, you can completely abandon the whole environment monitoring thing and maybe look at it from, okay, can we approach it from the human side? What are some of the symptoms we start seeing in the hospital that allows us to know that there will be an outbreak of Lassa fever soon? So those are different ideas, different methods So when you propose a unique method, when you've done something that others have not done before, you can publish and you have a publication. Then the other is conferences and competitions. Conferences is you make conference presentation as a researcher. And other times, especially as a student, you have the opportunity to do poster presentations as part of the conference you attend. Poster presentations, which is like it's just like I've said, you've done a project and you want to talk about the project, you put it in a poster, and many persons are competing, many students, sometimes even professionals are competing. And at the end of the conference, they have best poster presentation. So you can participate in things like that. Sometimes your research paper can come up as a project you are doing first. So I'll give an example of this. In my fourth year, we built a device we called Aquasense, which allowed us to measure pH, stability, total dissolved solid, temperature from water. And we can use those data. We can use those data. Okay. Sorry. We can use back to the Aquasense project. We can use those data that we monitor, the temperature, the pressure, the total dissolved solid. We can use them to determine the health of the water. And then we can use that to determine the health of the fish that stays in that kind of water. So this project was presented first in a competition within the faculty, and then we went ahead to also present it in a national competition. But sometime around last year, we decided to write it into a research paper. I and my team. So those are ways you can turn those projects into, you can win competitions and you can turn them into publications, and you can do both if you desire. And then the final thing is recommendation letters, which is really, really very important. Now, at this stage, your research would mostly maybe in the first few years be confined to your university. But there are times where you may want to extend beyond your university. And the truth is, the work we do in Nigeria, although we are still developing the research ecosystem in Nigeria, there's so much we can do. And sometimes you find out that your counterparts abroad are doing more interesting research. So I'll give an example. You are reading a research paper, someone proposed the method, and you check out the professor that wrote out the paper. You check them out and you see that they have a lab. And one thing you can do is just the same way that you interact with your professor here, you can type an email and send to that professor in maybe Spain or in the United States or in Canada. And you tell them that you want to contribute to the research in their lab, but you are not going to be there physically. You'll be there virtually. So they can give you assignments, maybe do a design, run a simulation, write a code, and then you send to them. You are contributing to the research online. Or maybe you are editing a paper, they get results, they send it to you, you synthesize this into a publishable material, and you send it back to them. Now, let's say you want to do something like that. What you need is someone that can vouch for your credibility to do research. So what happens is your professors that you've already worked with here can vouch for your credibility that, oh, this person has worked with me for the past 2 years. They've done this, and this, and I'm confident if you give them the opportunity to work in your lab, they will do even more. Now, a way that this even extends more is what we call fully funded offers, especially when it comes to research masters and PhDs. So as a recent graduate, you can move from your bachelor's to pursue your PhD in a university, maybe in the US or in any part of the world. And one thing they look out for when you're trying to pursue your PhD is your recommendation letter. Can you do research? So if you worked with your professor maybe for 2 years and you've done a lot of work and you've gotten publications, you've done conference presentations, your professor can pen all the work you've done, write it down for you, and submit it as a recommendation letter for you to say that, yes, I strongly recommend this person. I think this person will be able to do this level of research at Stanford that they have done at Uniben. So I think as far as these things are, all of them are tied. All of them are tied because your publications, so the way it works is your research assistantship gives you credibility with your professor. Your publications and your conference presentations give you your publications and your conference presentation give you credibility with the wider research world, with the wider research body or scholars that gets to interact with your work. Then your recommendation letter will further give you credibility when you begin to apply for opportunities, especially when you want to pursue your master's, when you want to pursue your PhD. You have any plan to pursue research outside of the country, moving out of the country, or maybe sometimes even within the country. But I know many of you would want to look at pursue research outside of the country. So it will come in very handy in that case. Now, professional communication. I mentioned about maybe sending an email to your professor, to a professor outside of your university environment in case they do a research that is interesting for you. Another would be maybe even within your school environment. You want to meet a professor after school hours, but they are very busy persons, so you cannot meet them. One thing you can do is get their academic email and write a concise, respectful email and send to them. Now, when you are writing an email like this, you should have a clear subject. Interest in AIRO lab. Very clear. They know what you're looking for. Concise message. You're not writing 300 paragraphs. Preferably, keep it within 100 to 200 words. Dear Professor Agajo, good news. I'm in 300 level. I've done this, and this. I'm interested in doing this, and this work with you. I read this paper where you propose this, and I think I can also propose this. So be respectful, be concise. Then evidence of preparation. That read this paper, that's where you show evidence of preparation. You read the paper, you saw a method, you want to propose your own method, or you have an idea, you want to work with them, you have something you are giving them. So it shows that you've prepared. And then thank you very much for your email. Sorry, thank you very much for reading my email. I have attached my CV and I hope to hear from you soon. That's gratitude. Then you wait a week, sometimes two. If you get a response, great. If you don't get a response, send a follow-up email. Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity the last time. I just want to send a kind reminder with regards to my interest in working with. Make it short, make it simple, and make it respectful. Now, an example of an outreach message that you can send maybe on LinkedIn or your email. Good afternoon, Professor. I enjoyed your lecture on embedded systems, and I've been exploring ESP32-based IoT projects independently. I'd appreciate guidance on how students can get involved in research under your supervision. This is short, this is simple. The professor can reply and say, meet me in the office by 2 p.m. and then you begin your interactions there. So for your assignments, for the week, I want you to identify one lecturer whose work interests you. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this, or 3 ways. Okay, 2 major ways. The first is the class they teach. Does it interest you? Take note of what interests you in the class. The second is check them out online. Type their name on Google. Check out their LinkedIn profile. Check out their Google Scholar profile. Check out their ResearchGate profile. What are they saying? Check out their LinkedIn profile. Do they have a LinkedIn profile? What do they say on their LinkedIn? That will tell you what they're interested in. Then when you check out their Google Scholar profile, okay, I'll give you an example. Let me check Google Scholar so that you know what I'm talking about. So this, can you see the Google Scholar tab? Okay, yeah. So you go to Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a database for researchers worldwide. So you type in your professor's name. They should, if they don't research work, they should have a Google Scholar profile. If you type in my name on Google, my Google Scholar profile will come out. So this is my profile. So I'm going to my profile. So you see embedded systems, artificial intelligence. You see the papers I've written. 2024, 2026 is usually arranged by citations. I just have one citation from 2024. So these are more recent papers. This is this year, 2026. This was also from 2024. So you look at the Google Scholar profile, you notice embedded systems, you notice artificial intelligence. This is my area of research interest. And then you check design and implementation of a vehicle intruder touch alarm system. Then you check low-cost IoT. So you know that, okay, I'm interested in IoT, Internet of Things. That's my area of research interest. Okay. Look at my most recent papers. We are looking at remote sensing device. We are looking at solar powered IoT. We are looking at solar phone charger. So you are getting a feel of power systems, IoT. So you can use this to get an idea of what, okay, this professor is interested in, this person is interested in. Or if you are not so sure, it will be written here. If they don't write it here, the last set of papers they have will tell you what they're interested in. And then you can use that to draft your email and say, oh, I saw that you wrote a paper on this. Read their paper. So click on this, for example, and okay, this is the remote sensing. I think this was taken out. It will take you to the website, and then you can download the paper, read it, and provide your thoughts on it. And tell the professor you're interested in this work or you read this particular work. So that's how you can identify a lecturer whose work interests you. Now, research one area they work in. I think I've already mentioned that. That's how you do the research on the area they work in. You use their Google Scholar profile and check the latest research work they've done. And then the third is to draft a professional outreach message, just like we've done here. Draft a short, simple message that talks about yourself, what you have to offer, why you're interested in them, and what you want them to do for you. Now, state one skill you will improve before contacting them. So this is a personal assessment now. So if you look at if you look at the work your professor is doing, you should be intimidated, or naturally you would be intimidated because they are doing advanced stuff and you're probably still just an undergraduate. So look at what skill can I have that make me relevant to this person. If you already have the skill, go ahead. If you don't have the skill, start developing the skill, but still send that message. I don't know if we're together. So still reach out to them, but when you're reaching out, don't tell them you have a skill you don't have. Reach out to them honestly. Show curiosity. That's the most important thing. Then identify something you can build on that makes you valuable to them and continue working on it. So overall, I would want you to take notes of these key points. access often comes through people. Opportunities to research, opportunities to scholarships, internships, sometimes work placements often come through people. Relationships create opportunities. Mentorship usually begins with curiosity. It does not begin with competence. Is somebody is interested in knowing, and you are approaching someone else that can help you feed that knowledge. And then you are consistent. You do that consistently. You don't come today and disappear tomorrow. Now, research opportunities favor prepared students. You have to be prepared. You have to be ready for it. And then you have to be professional. Professionalism matters. Now, when it comes to research opportunities, I would also want to talk about it more briefly. For now, your work would involve trying to build the research competence. If you get into the research ecosystem, the opportunity starts opening up to you. It's not like it's really not like scholarships that is being announced. Research is announced within the research community. So that's how the opportunities come. If a professor wants to recruit, they are going to post it on their LinkedIn page or tell their colleagues that they want to recruit. It is not going to be announced like a graduate trainee role in a company. No, it does not work like that. So the best way to get access to research opportunities is to be in the research space. Start doing research, read papers. When you read a paper, check the professors that have written that paper. You can go to LinkedIn, connect with them, so that when they have an opportunity on the post, you see it. Or sometimes they will share a post from their colleague, you see it, and then you can apply for those research opportunities. So it's a very niche, a very, should I say, closely guarded ecosystem. So to get access to research opportunities, try to get yourself into the research ecosystem. And when you've gotten yourself into the research ecosystem, through your professor, through your mentor, start connecting with others in the ecosystem. The more persons you are connected with, the more persons are engaged with your research and you engage with their research, the more opportunities you are going to come across, because is a is on a one-to-one basis hiring. Is somebody hiring you specifically because you reached out to them, and you will not reach out for an opportunity you do not know exists, unless maybe it's like a professor or you just want to shoot and find out if the opportunity exists. So that will be all for our discussion today. Thank you very much. It has been an interesting session on my part, and I would welcome any question from now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Good News. We really do appreciate. Like this was so detailed. I know if you are probably an art student, you might be saying, ah, what is this guy saying and all of that. But if you're a science student or you are in the engineering space, in the engineering space and in the science space, you will thank God for this session that we just had. So thank you very much, Mr. Good News, for this session. It was really, really insightful. I personally even learned a lot of things that I would also be implementing because I'm kind of still interested in research, although it might not be like the academic part. So if you have any questions, please kindly raise your hand. Okay, Uche Jr. has a question. All right, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. So, good evening. Thank you, Sir Goodness, for that wonderful session. It was impactful, and I learned a lot here. So, I want to ask this question. I don't know if it was maybe answered or you gave something like that during the class because I stepped out to get something, so there was noise. I was not hearing at that point. So, my question is this: how are we going to be able to identify or know what our professors are researching on? Because it will be somehow to just meet them and start asking them, sir, what are you researching on? Like, how are we going to know? Is there a particular platform that I'm going to know? Because I'm currently in Imo State University accountancy department, that's accounting. So am I going to know what my professors are researching on before I'll be able to identify the ones that please me and the ones that I would like to work with? That's my
Okay.
question.
Thank you very much, Uchi. Should we answer it one question at a time, or should we? Okay,
Okay,
I think one question at a time.
let's just gather. Who else has another question? If you have another
Okay.
question, please kindly raise your hand. Does anybody have any question? Okay, so since no hand is raised, Ronald, do you have a question? Let's just know all the people that have questions now, so we know how to tackle them and save time. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. I do hope we all understand how to raise hands. So please just raise your hand. But it's a good news you can go on and answer this question.
Okay. The person that asked the question, sorry, the name, Uche. Yes, okay. So I mentioned Google Scholar. So what I want you to tell me now is I want to do a live example of how to identify your professor's research interest. So give me the name of any professor or a prof you like in your school, in your department.
Okay, I don't really know his full name, but his name is Professor E.C. Umeaka.
Can you please spell the EC, the Omeaka?
Okay,
Omeaka.
Umeaka.
Okay, Umeaka. So yes, I can see him here already.
Your screen is not shared, please.
Yes, let me. Is it the person you're talking about?
Uche, you are muted, but I think this should be the person since it's Imo State University and it's also
Yes,
accounting.
yes, finance and accounting. So what you do is Oshe, you go to, so like I mentioned, you type the professor's name. The first thing you see is a Google Scholar profile, especially if they are a publishing professor, they are doing research work. If you don't see a Google Scholar profile, it means their research activity is low or almost non-existent. That's not the kind of person you want to work with. So you see their Google Scholar profile. Sometimes there will be a ResearchGate profile. But what comes up now, apart from the ResearchGate, good, academia.edu, although this is not the same person, but he published a work with this person. So apart from the Google Scholar profile, other things you are seeing here is the journals that he has published in. Journal of Economics, Finance and Management Studies in 2023. EA Journals, he published this in 2012. Is in Landmark University Repository. So you are going to see some of his work alongside the Google Scholar profile. So what you do is click on the Google Scholar profile, and then you see that his most cited work, 18 citations, was in 2016. Uche, are we together? Okay, good. So his most cited work was his most cited work was in 2016, and if you check, his most recent work is in 2019, which is like 7 years ago. Interesting. So I want to check now if he has maybe more recent works. I can go to this place, go to metrics, no, library settings. No, this is not where I want to go to. Sorry, where's the person I was looking at? Give me a moment. Okay, no. It's not for a prof. It's when you are typing a research topic. So 2019, that's the recent thing he did. So um Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and performance of banks in Nigeria, an impact assessment. So he did an impact assessment on EFCC and banks in Nigeria. So you can read this work and see what he has done in this field. And this would be a good place to start a conversation with him, especially if you find something interesting. Okay. So 2019 is not so far ago. It means okay, since 2021, he has had 25 citations. So more persons have been citing his work more recently. So even if maybe he published in 2016, there has been people are reading his work lately than maybe in the earlier days he published. 2019 is not so far ago. He may have maybe stopped publishing for a while. And maybe with enough interest, he may also just want to resume. So read any of these work that you can find here, and if any of them interest you, you can start a conversation from that end. Is that good?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So thank you very much for that. Does any other person have any question? Is there any other question before we plan on wrapping up this session? Okay, someone just
yes,
asked, is Google Scholar an app or a site? I think it's a site.
Yes. Yes, is a site. I don't know if there is an app version, but I always just use it on the websites.
Okay, so that's with that. Then another thing that we won't add to what Good News said about the prof's last publication being 2019 is, most of this thing that we're discussing here now, I would say 90%, I hope I'm not exaggerating, but I would say 90% of students within this geographical location that we are, they are not really very intentional about all of these things. So when professors or when lecturers see students who are even going the extra mile showing interest like this, they would want to help. So even if they are not actively still researching or publishing, they would recommend you to somebody else who is active in the space. So even when you search for your prof and you see that, oh, your prof has not published something for a long time, just read the stuff and go and show your genuine interest. From there, you can say, oh, I love this that you're actually moving on with, and it will just recommend you to maybe another prof that is actively in the space. Like, I think Good News shared something, how he got into the current research group that he's actually working with was a recommendation from his own lecturer. In fact, I would say I think the lecturer that Good News is actually currently working with is one of the doctors in my department that I graduated because we were all from engineering. So that's just it. It's just from once you have that relationship with one of the lecturers or one of the prof, he can just recommend you to someone else that is also in the field of interest that you are currently doing, that you are currently interested in. So in the absence of any question, we are going to be wrapping up very soon, but I hope we all caught the assignment that our facilitator for today gave. So you have to find a lecturer, because we actually want everybody to start building this, to be confident, because a lot of us, we cannot approach our lecturers. A lot of us, you cannot approach your prof. You are thinking they are one god or some kind of, I don't really understand it, but these people are human beings and you can actually approach them. And the goal, one of the goals of this program, or what we're trying to also achieve, is the fact that we want students to have that confidence. If you study schools abroad, you see how easy it is to interact with your lecturer. But in this part of the world, I can bet it that most of us have never sent an email to our lecturer. Even if they tell you to submit an assignment via email, it's like a problem. But these are the things we need to start developing right now. And just to add to some of the things that Mr. Good News also talked about was, for my school that I graduated from, I think it was when I was in 300 level or 400 level, that they actually activated our email. So anything that is going on around the school, it's always being sent across the email system of everybody. So if your school have an active email platform where they are always sending emails to everybody, please check it out, because some of these competitions that will be available in your school, research opportunities that will be available in your school, it might not even be within your department, but they can just send it via email to everybody. But if you are not actively checking your emails, opportunities will always keep on coming and you will not see them and they will just go out. So always take advantage of this. If your school has a digital system where they're always broadcasting information to you, take advantage of it. And if they don't have, maybe you can pitch the idea to them. That's like an opportunity for you too. Then also, one of the things that he also said that is actually very important is, if you are in 100 level, 200 level, you might not really know your departmental lecturers that much, but that is the period where you can start actively building your technical skills. E.g., technical writing is very, very important. I wish I knew that thing very well. I would have probably developed that skill when I was in 100 level, and maybe when you get to 300 level, it will be easier to approach. Okay, good news, want to say something. So let's allow you to speak.
Yes. What you've forgive me for the interruption. What you said is very true. I just want to quickly add that I will be sharing some courses with you with regards to research writing, so that by the time you approach your professor, you are not approaching them with empty hands. You approach them with a skill you have developed from a reputable organization or a reputable university that you can contribute. So I will allow Maurice to decide if that's going to be part of your assignment, about 5 courses altogether, to help you develop your research competence.
Of course, that is really, really accepted. Like, I think I overheard you said it during your session. So of course, that's really, really going to be, we welcome it basically. So I believe after this session, you are going to get access to that in the group chats. And please, this, we already stated it. Okay, he said 100 level students that don't know their departmental lecturers. Don't worry about that. You are getting the knowledge ahead of time now. You are blessed basically. If I had this opportunity when I was 100 level, maybe I would have become an Ojogu before I graduated. But of course, we all thank God for all different opportunities we got. So now that you're in 100 level, it's time to start developing technical writing skill. And even this technical writing skill set, you can basically even use it to start making money while even in school, because it's a very, very crucial skill that is actually needed. So that is one thing. Then for those that are in, I believe research is like cut across every course of study. Research is actually everywhere. So whether you are in arts, whether you are in the science part, whether you are in the medical field, you are in the engineering field, this can be a part that you can actually take advantage of. But it's not compulsory for everybody. Everybody must not be a researcher, but just start taking the different part. In our next other session, we'll talk about entrepreneurship. Another session, we're also going to be talking about social impact. So each and every of the session that actually suits your personality, you just have to start with it. And another thing that I'll also emphasize on is the fact that most times we say, oh, I don't really like this thing because it's not something that I like doing. But the truth is, we might say something like, it's not something I'm passionate about. The truth is, the true test of passion is not when something is easy. It's knowing that this thing is necessary to be done and I will have to learn it to do it. Because if you don't do it at certain time interval, some opportunities, you might not get them again once you pass that stage. So please take advantage of that. Then something else I also wanted to share, there are some undergraduate scholarships that are currently ongoing. They are currently ongoing, like we have the PTDF scholarship, we have the MTN Foundation scholarship. Mr. Goodings was actually an awardee of that. I also got the MTN scholarship when I was in school. So MTN scholarship is currently ongoing. PTDF, that's one of the best scholarships you can ever have as an undergraduate. It's currently ongoing. Then I think there is one on NNPC that are currently ongoing. So I will just quickly share my screen, then show you guys quickly how you can actually apply for this stuff. Most of them are going to be expiring this month. In fact, I think those 3 are ending 31st of this month. So please and please, this week, try as much as possible to apply for that. And For undergraduate scholarship, you are not really telling any story that much. It's mostly going to be your academic performance. But nevertheless, even if you think you have a very poor result, still apply. There is no harm in applying. Like literally, there is no harm in applying. Just apply. If you have the very good result, apply. If you have a result that you think is not very good, still apply. So I'm going to just share my screen and just show you guys. Share my entire screen. Can you all see my screen? Can everybody see my screen? Okay. So so first of all, Dasbridge, by God's grace, is actually the platform organizing this initiative, this program that we are having. So when you come to dasbridge.com, once you come to the website and you come to opportunities tab, you simply just come to this, just select undergraduate scholarships. And you're going to see PTDF. You can click on reading full details. Okay, so you can see the I really would say most scholarships, most of the scholarship opportunities that are really available to like people who are in the science part, let's say engineering students, physical science students, and medical students. But there are some other opportunities that are generally open to every student, whether you're arts or social science. And as time goes on, we'll be updating the database to show you more of those opportunities too. So for this, you must be an undergraduate student. I think PTDF, you should be in your second year. I'm very sure about this. You should be in your second year, Nigerian Federal University. But I also think this should be open to whether you're in state university also. But I don't think this is open to you if you are in private university. I'm not really sure about that. But I think if you're in private university, that means you have money. But it's fine. So these like the benefits. So this is going to be ending May 29. Just click on apply and it will take you to the official website. So once you come here, you are definitely going to be creating an applicant account. Then you can also come to the guidelines part, how to apply. So guidelines, you see everything that you need. You need your NIN. It's not really hard. Please try as much as possible to read and understand what is here. Please just take your time and read what is here. It will really help. Then there's something I wanted to share. I think this has to apply. So if you are in engineering, you are studying a course that relates to hair. So this part on how to apply, please come once you come to the PTDF website, click on this how to apply, then read this place. It will basically explain everything to you. Just click on next and it will guide you on everything that you need to know. Then let's come back to these opportunities. So the next one that we have is the MTN Foundation Scholarship. So I think MTN Foundation should be open to everybody. I think I am sure about that. MTN Foundation Scholarship should be open to everybody. So the same thing, you click on read, you click on read the full details and you just go and apply for that also. Then for the NNPC JV Renaissance JV University Scholarship, I think this particular one, you have to come and create a Scholastica account. So once you click on apply from Dasbridge, you will land on this Scholastical account. And basically, it's a simple process. But if you have any challenge, you just have to click on apply now. If you have any challenge, but I think you also have to create an account if you don't have an account with Scholastica. You can ask questions in the group chat and you'll be guided on how to apply for this particular scholarship. And I think this one is also open. I think this one is also open to like 200 level students. Who is that? Kindly mute yourself. If that person should mute, thank you. So let's check the eligibility. Please, okay, or Precious, if you are looking for, kindly mute that person. Thank you. Okay, so you can see the eligibility here. So I think this one is actually open to everybody. It specify if you are a science student or you are studying engineering. So this NNPC, I think it should be open to everybody. Then there are other scholarship opportunities. Is that music something? Okay. This one has actually expired. So I think it ended yesterday. This one is for people who are just trying to get into university, Pan Atlantic University. This is actually one of the best. Can anybody still hear me, please? Okay. So for those that are planning to get into the university, you are not yet in university, I think you should check out Pan Atlantic University if it offers the courses that you're actually planning to study, because it's one of the best universities in Nigeria. In fact, in Africa as a whole, I would sincerely tell you that. Then you can also check this out. This should also be open to all courses, but I think it should be restricted to just women, but kindly check it out. This one is for people who are planning to get into university. Then this one also should also be open to everybody. And this and this. So just go through this, just search dasbridge.com and you go to the website, check the opportunities that are available. And in case you probably see an opportunity, you can also post it in the group chat and let us know, then we can verify it also. Apart from that, you must also remember that any scholarship you are applying for, you are not meant to pay any money to apply for any scholarship. No scholarship body will ask you to pay them money to apply. They are always free. Then another thing too is getting your results from your department. It is very, very important. Like back then, because most of the scholarship, they will ask for your results, and it is very important. So what we used to do back then is, in my department, they already know that we used to apply for scholarships. And thank God for our secretary back then, the secretary to my HOD, she was a very nice woman. So whenever we submit, we used to submit a letter. There is a format, you submit the letter to the HOD, and they would actually prepare your result for the previous level. Then that's what you add in submitting for your scholarship applications. So one thing that you can do is maybe at the beginning of every semester, you can actually ask for your results. You can submit requests for your result for your past session. Although there are some scholarship bodies that might require the result being addressed directly to them. And this is where you also need to build good relationship with your HOD, build good relationship with your, how do you even call them, your course advisor and the secretary to your HOD. And even when you win some of these opportunities, go and buy something for them, even if it's small drink that you want to buy. Just say, oh, ma, thank you very much for all that you've been doing. Sir, thank you very much for all that you've been doing. Just take this from me. Or maybe school just resume. You can just buy something small and just go and give them, appreciating them for how they've been good to you in the school. And with this, these are some of the ways you can even build much more relationship with these people, because let me tell you, if you don't have good relationship with your lecturer, they can literally frustrate you. I must be sincere with you, because there are times you might want to submit something, deadline is next tomorrow, and your lecturer is like, you are disturbing me, leave me, leave me, leave me. And because of the lecturer attitude, you might just miss out on a scholarship you could have actually won. But if you have built good relationship with them, they'll be like, if I'm not even going to do this for anybody because of you, I'll have to pause every other thing so that I'll just do this for you, because of relationship that you have actually built with them. So for all of these opportunities, I believe I would advise each and every one of us to apply. In fact, this is actually also going to be some of the things you'll be tracked on. Apply, and you'll also be getting all the support necessary you need in the group chat. So I think we have come to the end. This 200 level can't apply for PTDF. I am not really sure because you need 100 level results. So, okay, requesting money to verify NIN. No, you actually need to verify that NIN. I think you have to pay for that. That's in the PTDF, but it's not like the PTDF is collecting the money. That's just for you to verify it. So if it is on the platform, you can actually pay for PTDF. If they are saying you have to pay money to verify NIN, I think you have to do that. Medical students, we'll have to check that later, but just check the requirements in the PTDF website, the eligibility part of it. You are going to see everything. But even if they say medical students are not eligible to apply, what do you actually even stand to lose? If you have a good result, just apply. Even if you don't even have a good result, still apply. Grace can just speak for you. Who knows? So I think maybe because mostly for this undergraduate scholarship, you're not really like telling any story. So you're not really stressing your brain to really like do storytelling and all of that. All you are basically doing is with your past results, you apply and you just submit. So that's what I would say. But I don't really think medical students are 100% qualified to apply. But still, if you have your past results, you can just submit it. And that's what I will have to say for that. So we have actually come to the end of today's session. We really want to appreciate each and every one of you that joined today. The link for attendance, has the link been dropped in this group chat? Okay. I think the link will be dropped in the WhatsApp group for attendance, but on other sessions, the link will be dropped directly in the chat so that those that are directly in the class will actually submit their attendance. But we also want to say thank you for our facilitator today. Thank you, Mr. Good News. We'll be expecting all the resources that you said you're going to share with us. Really say thank you for pouring out your heart and for sharing all of your experience. Thank you very much, and we look forward to partnering with you for other things. And thank you for all that actually joined. Do have a great night rest. You can take screenshots, go and share about what you
Thank you,
learned.
sir.
Tag
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Good News on LinkedIn, tag Dasbridge on LinkedIn, tag myself on LinkedIn, and we're definitely going to even repost and reshare all of this thing that you're going to post. Thank you and have a good night rest. Bye, everyone.